Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, joined by Phil Chambers from What Culture, and this is the news. We are here to bring you all the breaking news with Money in the Bank less than an hour away, even with its random matches of Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro and R-Truth versus MVP. But anyway, before all that, let's talk about today's breaking news and first deal with the main issue of Rusev. A lot of people speculating on what Rusev's plans are following, or I should say the artist formerly known as Rusev, really, shouldn't I? Miro, of course, as he's known. A lot of people speculating about what he's going to be doing after being a part of those Black Wednesday WWE releases. And now it turns out he has turned his eyes to Twitch as a new career path. He announced all this news earlier on today on Instagram, saying, "This is the deal. I got fired, right? Professional wrestling, blah, blah. Who cares? Exciting news is going on. We're going to start a Twitch channel pretty soon because I want to show how good I am at video games. Why not start a channel where people can see me play video games all day? Because that's pretty much all I do." Another interesting tidbit that was announced as part of all this. A lot of people speculating about when we're going to hear more from him regarding his WWE release. There are always those such spicy podcasts. But he did tease a future appearance on Ryback's podcast, perhaps to talk all about his time in the WWE and his subsequent release. But yes, Phil Chambers, the artist formerly known as Rusev, now known as Miro, looks like he's going to be a Twitch streamer.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different one, this, I guess. Like, normally you get the wrestlers releasing their big news of, like Pro Wrestling Tees store and like, big indie announcements or what wrestling company they're going to go to next. But nope, Rusev's going to Twitch and he's going on Ryback's podcast, of all things. Staying away from Jericho's.
We've talked in the past about our love for Rusev on many occasions when he was in the WWE and how underutilized he was. He is just, he got Rusev Day over along with Aiden English through just sheer personality. He's so charismatic that you sense that watching him, akin to watching someone like Xavier Woods play video games, would just be so entertaining.
Yeah, totally, and it's got to be a matter of time before Xavier Woods and him do some things. Unless is Xavier Woods will he be allowed to do things with Rusev? I know it's his own thing technically outside of WWE. I don't know how much control they have over that.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? One would hope so. Good news, of course. I'm not sure if we reported on this over the weekend that on Monday, you see, Heard's going to be the next guest on the New Days podcast, Phil.
I have not seen this.
It is going to be, and I realise we're setting up and stuff for Money in the Bank, but my neighbours are already going to hate me for this because it's going to be the Iconics. Sorry about that. Sorry. They're already at the window. Yes, that's going to be great stuff. But yeah, I'm really happy for Miro, formerly on his Rusev, as we said, going on to do other stuff. I think he is arguably one of the hottest properties that WWE released as part of those Black Wednesday releases, and yeah, would not be surprised if he ends up, once this horrible global situation has moved on, somewhere like AEW, perhaps.
Yeah, totally. Like you say, he's the genuinely charismatic and entertaining person. Whatever he gets up to, I'm sure it's going to be really good fun. Whether he stays on Twitch forever, I doubt it. He's got to go somewhere else, surely. But yeah, good luck to him in everything he does.
In terms of passing the time right now, because obviously he can't really just rock up to the AEW tapings or whatever, it's not a bad way to do it, is it?
Yeah, definitely. And there's quite a few games fans in AEW that I'm sure he'd be able to get on board with, get to some streaming with or whatever. But speaking of AEW, you may have seen that they have announced the Casino Ladder match for Double or Nothing pay-per-view, which is basically a bit like Money in the Bank, guarantees them a match for the World Heavyweight Championship at a later date. The first person has been announced for the match, and guess who it is? It's Darby Allin. Of course it's Darby Allin. Who else do you want to see do stupid bumps off the top of a ladder?
Yeah, no real surprises here. First of all, he is obviously a genuine title contender in many people's eyes. He's one of the fastest rising stars in AEW. He had me guess 6 people that was going to be involved in this ladder match for AEW. He would have probably been right at the top of the list. You can see other people. Sammy Guevara is probably going to get chucked in there. My God, if Orange Cassidy gets thrown in there, people are going to get very excited. Do you know what? This could quite easily be the route that MJF takes to the world title because
he's got a match against Jungle Boy, though.
Oh, bollocks. Yeah, he's already in a match.
Yeah.
Sod it, chuck him in there as well. And I
You've
could
got the,
see, I don't know why, but I could
Phoenix
see
or something. I don't know if they've got them.
I could see someone like that or a Scorpio Sky or something being thrown in there.
Yeah.
But Darby Allin, in terms of a first name being announced for the pay-per-view, which is the end of this month, if I'm not mistaken. So we get two ladder matches, or well, three technically, if you count the women's. They're all being shoved together tonight. Doesn't matter anyway. But yeah, two ladder matches before the end of the month for setting up world championship opportunities. And I think Darby Allin's the perfect pick for this.
Yeah, totally. The rest of that card as well is shaping up to be Jon Moxley versus Brody Lee for the heavyweight championship, of course, and Cody versus Lance Archer in the finals of that TNT title tournament. And like we say, Jungle Boy versus MJF, but I'm sure there'll be many more names for the ladder match to be announced. I'm not sure how many people are going to be in it. I don't know if they've said that.
No, not as far as I know. I mean, obviously, you'd guess between 6 and 8, but let's be honest, AEW does everything a little bit differently from WWE, so 11 probably or something like that. But I'm really excited for that pay-per-view. It's shaping up really well. Some people have moaned about the Brody Lee Jon Moxley one. There's obviously been complaints about that being another all WWE title fight. I don't really see what else they can do, considering how many people used to be in WWE. You could argue that the Cody Lance Archer match is an all WWE match, but it doesn't really hold much water in my book. But I'm looking more and more looking forward to that pay-per-view. I think you can sell it to me on Cody versus Lance Archer alone, if I'm honest. But them chucking this ladder match in and already announcing someone like Darby Allin's name, I'd hope going forward they have some qualifiers, because I always like them. I did like them even this year for WWE, even if some of them were relatively straightforward. So hopefully that can be built into Dynamite. But I'm looking forward to it. And speaking of AEW, although technically speaking of WWE as well, a wrestling legend, a WWE legend, but a current AEW star, Arn Anderson, has had his say on NXT, revealing on the latest episode of his podcast that he believes NXT has kind of lost a little bit of its luster recently, which I'm sure many of you already in the comments are saying, well, of course he said that, it's for AEW, blah, blah, blah. He talks basically about the fact that this former developmental brand, you could argue it's still there with the way they're bringing certain people through, has been diluted through the fact of them bringing main roster stars on there, like, of course, someone like a Charlotte Flair, who's current NXT Women's Champion. He says he believes fans aren't seeing a pure NXT show anymore. He understands that WWE wanted more star power on the show, but he doesn't think it reflects positively on the pre-existing roster if management are moving more established names from the so-called bigger shows. I think he's got a bit of a point here. I'm not saying that this is the only reason why NXT has kind of lost a bit of its luster recently, but you can see where he's coming on from here, Phil.
Yeah, totally. I can see his point. It's difficult because obviously it can't be that exact same NXT show, because amongst all of the greatness that NXT used to have in that show, you also had very early on in the stage of people's wrestling career matches that you just can't put on TV. A lot has had to change about that NXT product, but to say that someone like a Charlotte is diluting that product when she was kind of built in NXT and grew to be one of the biggest stars coming out of NXT, it might be a little bit much.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's actually a really good story surrounding her and the NXT Women's Championship. And, as much as people moan that she's like the female Roman Reigns or whatever, you also can't argue against the fact that most of the people she faces just so happen to have the best match of their career against her. It's one of those things we just sort of all realized about a year or two ago, oh, wait, hang on. She had the best match of Becky Lynch, she had the best Bayley, best match of Sasha. Oh, hang on. There's a common theme going along here. So I can understand that. Look, the argument is, of course, that despite the fact they brought Charlotte Flair and these bigger stars onto NXT, that's not helping them win the ratings war. But, I think it's done. To be fair, I was going to say, I don't think it's done that much damage. It has done that much damage. It's done damage to Rhea Ripley's NXT Championship reign, but it's a very spicy field currently in the NXT women's division. It's arguably one of the hottest divisions, I'd say, in the entire wrestling world right now, because you could make a match with about 5 or 6 women in NXT against Charlotte Flair that you could easily say could probably headline many of the NXT pay-per-views they put on. So I can see where he's coming from, that it might have muddied the waters, let's say, rather than diluted NXT.
Yeah, definitely. And there's always the argument as well that iron sharpens iron. Putting someone as good as Charlotte down there is only going to help the next generation of that female roster. As good as that is, putting someone with the talent of level of Charlotte can go up against absolutely any one of them and teach every single one of them something as she goes along.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, finally up tonight, Seth Rollins has been talking to TalkSport about the, let's say, disastrous, is that a fair word for it?
Yep,
match against
absolutely.
match against Bray Wyatt at Hell in a Cell, where he won when absolutely no one wanted to, and everyone's pretty much said it's the worst finish of all time and a terrible match at the same time. Anyway, he got a couple of quotes for him about it, saying that he realised the situation that he was in when it was happening. I'll just read out the quote as is. At the end of the day, there's no real nice way to put it. I was dead in the water after Hell in a Cell, and a lot of that was nothing that I could control. I was left out there as a bit of a scapegoat in the situation, and there was nothing I could do about it, but I was the one that had to face the scrutiny. No one cared about Seth Rollins and how it affected me or how involved I was in any shape or form. So the writing was on the wall at that point. It was time to hunker down, make some changes, and some of those are tough lessons to learn. So it seems like, much as he knows that was a crap situation, you can't argue that with his current character now, he's taken everything that happened on board from there. Maybe it didn't happen as quickly as we would have liked, because it was still, that babyface run was not the greatest, let's say. But he's taken it all on board. He knew what that situation was, and he's managed to turn it around into this new character. And I think it's been probably the best thing for him. I'm not saying that match was good for him by any stretch of the imagination, but being able to turn it into this new character is.
I think the phrase is he's made the best of a bad job.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm torn with this one because on the one hand, well, first of all, I think in modern day WWE, as much as fans would be reading stuff like that and go, why wouldn't you just call an audible? I don't think that's feasible in current WWE. I think when Austin talks about potentially calling an audible and stunning McMahon at WrestleMania, you think, yeah, that could probably have happened because it was a different time back then. But what do you reckon?
That's also Austin.
Yeah, exactly.
Very different level of superstar.
I think, yeah, it's a different form, a different time, different whole atmosphere for wrestling, first of all. On the one hand, I do feel for him because you can imagine that whilst, when he was hitting the ladder with the chair, with the toolbox and just going, right, they're still booing. They're still booing, and we haven't even done the spot with the calling off of the match, and this is the end of the night.
Yeah.
I do feel for him for that. And the fact that obviously, I still remember at the time the footage of him trying to, apologize to the fans whilst he's walking to the back and, trying and justify it, whilst also still selling the fact that he got attacked by the Fiend post-match to try and send the fans home happy, which definitely didn't happen. Having said all that, the way he handled everything on social media was god-awful.
Yeah, absolutely. He did not help himself, did he? I don't know if he was... He must have been angry at the situation he found himself in, but that was not the way to go about it.
I think you're right, Phil. I think the time it's taken, he's had time to think about it, and not only has it informed his character, he's probably realised now he can't just be the smiling, happy company, rah-rah speech man that he used to be, or even if he wants to be that, because it was no good for anyone there. But nice to see that it's acknowledged that it was, I can't swear, but an absolute blank show. Let's just say that.
Absolutely.
Before we wrap up here, Phil, I hope you don't mind. I've got a little bit of breaking news for you.
Ooh, exciting.
I've got a new best friend.
Who's this one?
His name is CM Punk. Earlier on today, I tweeted just a brief clip of CM Punk's, as I described it, effing epic crowd reaction when he made his entrance, of course, at the infamous 2011 Money in the Bank when he faced Cena for the WWE Championship and was going to leave with the belt and all that stuff. Just tweeted that out. Just thought that would be a nice little setup for Money in the Bank later on tonight, which, of course, myself and Phil Chambers will be doing live reactions to from 11 p.m.-ish BST,
yes,
is that right?
11 p.m. BST.
Join
6
us
p.m.
for
Eastern.
Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. Who's going to win that big war rivalry?
Really personal. Really personal, that feud.
If someone had said to me this morning, oh, they've added a Jeff Hardy match to Money in the Bank, I'd go, cool, what time's he fighting Sheamus? Not, why is he fighting Cesaro? But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Yeah, I tweeted that clip of CM Punk's entrance, and he replied to me, can't F with Chicago with a little love heart. I think the love heart was for me, not for Chicago. So I'll just say,
Yeah,
put it out
definitely.
there.
That's how I'd read that.
Me and CM Punk are now officially best friends, so he can be added to the. I need to work out how to do some sort of impression of him. I think that means that's how you normally. That's normally what happens when I make friends with famous wrestlers, and then I just annoy them. Correct?
Yep, absolutely. You need to get that interview as well. Easy one to get that. Yeah. Easy one now.
Yeah, cool. He just has to unblock What Culture WWE on Twitter, because when this first happened, I was on the work account about to promote our live stream and went, I can't find that. Oh, yeah, CM Punk blocked us. But
wonder why he did block us. I never really understood
Phil.
that one.
We'd love to have a chat with you. And trust me, I don't know what we did in the past to hurt you, but we apologize. Ridiculous. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. We will, of course, be discussing all the fallout from Money in the Bank in the next few days, previewing Monday Night Raw tomorrow, of course, all the usual stuff you can expect from that. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and let the guys know their Twitter questions for tomorrow morning, post Money in the Bank at What Culture WWE on Twitter. And watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Phil Chambers
at Phil My Chambers.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow CM Punk at CM Punk. Give him a follow. He's a good lad.
He's a nice guy.
Right. As I said, though, make sure you join myself and Phil Chambers, 11 p.m. BST, which is 40 minutes away.
Hey.
I better get my sweets and my beers ready, Phil.
Someone's coming off the roof.
Oh, my God. It's going to be Otis, isn't it, in it? Oh, God. Anyway, right, for now, my thanks to Phil Chambers. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.